My brother took my entire $175K college fund. Dad said he had real potential and told me to learn a trade. I walked away without a word. 5 years later, they walked into my office and Mom nearly collapsed. My mother's knees buckled when she saw me through the glass walls of my corner office. Not because of the view, though Hartford does look beautiful from the 19th floor. Not because of the 40 employees behind me, hunched over their monitors, designing websites for Fortune 500 companies. She buckled because 5 years ago, she watched my father steal $175,000 from me and said absolutely nothing. I was 18 years old. My grandmother, Dad's mother, ironically, had just died. Pancreatic cancer, 3 weeks from diagnosis to funeral. I remember the hospice smelling like institutional soap and the way her hand felt like paper in mine the last time I saw her conscious. "You're going to do something beautiful with your life, Victoria," she'd whispered. Her voice was barely there. "Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." 2 days after the funeral, the lawyer called us into his office. My brother Marcus and I sat on opposite ends of a leather couch that squeaked every time we moved. I was in my high school graduation dress, navy blue, too tight in the shoulders. Marcus wore his college hoodie, University of Connecticut, business major, 3.1 GPA, and a smile that could sell water to a drowning man. The lawyer, Donald Pritchard, 56 years old, reading glasses on a chain, slid 2 folders across his desk. "Your grandmother established educational trusts for both of you, equal amounts, $175,000 each, to be released upon high school graduation or 18th birthday, whichever comes first." I stared at the number on the page, $175,000. I'd been working at Target since I was 16, saving $43 a week for community college. I had $2,100 in a savings account, and a guidance counselor who kept suggesting I explore trade schools. Now I had a future. Marcus whooped. Actually whooped in a lawyer's office. "That's amazing! Grandma always came through." My father clapped him on the shoulder, looked at me and nodded. "Your grandmother was a wise woman. She wanted you both to have opportunities." My mother smiled, patted my hand. "You'll go to UConn," she said. "Stay close to home." I nodded. I was thinking about dorms, about not working 40 hours a week while taking a full course load, about actually having time to study, to sleep, to breathe. I should have known better. 3 weeks later, my father called me down to the kitchen table. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I'd worked the morning shift and came home to shower before my evening class. Introduction to Computer Science at the community college. I was paying out of pocket, $340 for the semester, because I wanted to start immediately. Didn't want to wait for fall. Marcus was already sitting there. So was my mother. All 3 of them looking at me like I'd walked into an intervention. "Sit down, Tori," my father said. I sat. He slid a piece of paper across the table. Bank letterhead. A lot of numbers and legal language I didn't understand. "I'm consolidating both funds under Marcus's name." The words didn't make sense at first, like he was speaking a different language. "Both?" I finally said. "What do you mean, both?" "Your grandmother left you money for education. Marcus has been accepted to a prestigious MBA program at Boston University. He needs the capital to make the most of this opportunity." But I looked at the paper, at my name, at the account number I'd memorized. "That's my money. It's family money," my father corrected. "And I'm making an executive decision about how to best invest it. I'm 18. It's in my name. You're listed as the beneficiary. I'm the trustee until you're 25. Did you read the fine print?" I hadn't. I'd been too excited, too stupid. "Marcus has real potential," my father continued. His voice was calm, reasonable, the same voice he used when explaining why I couldn't go to the homecoming dance freshman year, or why my curfew was 2 hours earlier than Marcus's had been. "He's going to do something significant with his life. Build something. You're smart, Tori, but you're not ambitious like that. I'm taking computer science classes." "Exactly. Learn a trade, get a certification. You'll always have work. You don't need $175,000 to be a secretary." The word hit me like a slap. Secretary. Marcus shifted in his seat, wouldn't look at me. "What about me?" I said, voice barely working. "What about my education?" "You'll figure it out. You're resourceful." I looked at my mother. She was staring at the table, at the fake wood grain, at anything but me. "Mom," she swallowed, opened her mouth, closed it, chose silence, chose him. "The paperwork is already filed," my father said. "The transfer will be complete by Friday. Marcus starts his program in August. This is what's best for the family." I sat there for maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Then I stood up, walked upstairs, and started packing. I left with a backpack, a duffel bag, and $340 in cash from my last paycheck. My parents didn't try to stop me. My father went back to reading the newspaper. My mother stayed at the kitchen table. Marcus followed me to the door. "Tori, come on, don't be dramatic." I looked at him, at my big brother, the person who used to let me sit in his room while he did homework, who taught me how to ride a bike, who punched Ryan Morrison in 8th grade for calling me fat. "You could have said no," I said. "I earned this. BU is a top 10 program. With my money. Dad made the call. Take it up with him." I walked out, got in my 2001 Honda Civic with 140,000 miles and a check engine light that had been on for 6 months. I drove to my friend Jessica's apartment. She lived with 3 other girls in a 2-bedroom near the university. They had a bunk bed in the living room, $200 a month. "The bottom bunk smells like beer," Jessica warned. "Kyle's girlfriend puked there last month." "I'll take it." I cried myself to sleep that first night, and the second, and the third. By the 4th night, I was too tired to cry. I got a job at a coffee shop 6 blocks from campus. The owner was a woman named Rita Salazar, 53, with gray streaks in her black hair and arms covered in burn scars from 20 years of pulling selling espresso shots. You ever work food service? She asked during my interview. I worked at Target, customer service. Can you be here at 5 a.m.? Yes. Can you smile at assholes who yell at you about foam? Yes. She hired me on the spot. $8.50 an hour plus tips. I worked 40 hours a week. Morning shifts, 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., 6 days a week. Then I went to classes. Community college, introduction to computer science, web development fundamentals. I paid cash, $340 a class. I could afford 2 per semester. At night, I did homework on the coffee shop's Wi-Fi until Rita kicked me out at closing. I didn't talk to my parents. They didn't call. Marcus posted photos on Facebook. Boston University, new apartment, networking events with guys in suits, captions like grinding and building the dream. I blocked him after 3 months. The sewing box appeared 6 months after I left. It was sitting outside my apartment door. No note, just a small wooden box with flowers painted on the lid. I recognized it immediately. My grandmother's. She used to keep it next to her armchair. I'd spent hours as a kid watching her repair clothes, her gnarled fingers threading needles with impossible precision. Inside were spools of thread, a pincushion shaped like a tomato, scissors with mother-of-pearl handles, and underneath, wrapped in a piece of fabric, $12,000 in cash, $100 bills, crisp, sequential. Hidden in the false bottom of the box, there was a note, handwritten on grandmother's stationery, her shaky cursive, for Victoria, in case of emergency. Don't let your father find this. Grandma Helen. Dated 2 weeks before she died. She knew my father would do exactly what he did. I sat on my beer-stained bunk bed and sobbed until my roommate came home and asked if someone had died. Yeah, I said, but she left me a gift. I used the money strategically. $8,000 for tuition, full course load at community college. I'd transferred to a state school after 2 years. $2,000 for a newer laptop. I needed it for programming classes. $2,000 emergency fund. Didn't touch it unless absolutely necessary. I kept working at the coffee shop, 40 hours a week. Rita promoted me to shift supervisor, $9.25 an hour. I picked up freelance web design work, $10 an hour, 20 hours a week, building sites for local businesses, a yoga studio, a dog groomer, a lawyer who specialized in family law. Her name was Margaret Chen, 42, Yale Law, sharp blazers and reading glasses that made her look like a character from The Good Wife. I built her website in 3 days. She paid me $600. You're good, she said when I delivered the final product. You're in school? Community college, computer science. What happened to the original plan? What? Smart kid like you. You should be at a 4-year university. What happened? I don't know why I told her. Maybe because she'd asked. Maybe because no one else had. I told her about the trust, about my father, about the paperwork and the consolidation and the MBA program Marcus dropped out of after 1 semester. She took notes, asked questions. How old are you now? 19. You're still a minor when he transferred the funds? I'd just turned 18, 2 weeks before. And you didn't sign anything? I didn't even know until it was done. She was quiet for a long time. I can't take your case pro bono, but I can refer you to someone who might. Let me make some calls. She called me 3 days later. I spoke to a colleague, Daniel Orozco. He handles financial exploitation cases. He wants to meet with you. I met with Daniel Orozco in his office. He was 29, recent law school grad, working for a nonprofit that specialized in financial abuse. He listened to everything, took notes, asked for documentation. I didn't have much, just the original letter from the lawyer, some bank statements, screenshots of Marcus's Facebook posts bragging about his startup that was really just a WeWork desk and a leased BMW. Here's the problem, Daniel said. Your father was legally the trustee. Unless we can prove he acted in bad faith or violated fiduciary duty, there's not much we can do. He stole from me. He made a decision you disagree with. In the eyes of the law, that's different. So he just gets away with it? Daniel leaned back in his chair, steepled his fingers. Not necessarily. If we can prove Marcus didn't use the funds for education, if he spent them on personal expenses, luxury items, non-educational pursuits, we might have a case for misappropriation. But we'd need records, bank statements, receipts, evidence. How do I get that? You don't. We'd need to subpoena them, which requires filing a lawsuit, which requires money you don't have. I left his office feeling like I'd been punched in the chest. There was no justice, no recourse, just the reality that my father had stolen my future, and I couldn't do anything about it. I graduated from community college with a 4.0 GPA, transferred to the University of Connecticut, computer science. Full scholarship based on merit, kept working. Coffee shop and freelancing, 30 hours a week total. Junior year, I got an internship at a design agency, Hartwell Digital. They paid me $18 an hour. I was good, really good. My supervisor, Karen Hutchins, 34, Cornell MFA, pulled me aside after 3 months. We want to offer you a full-time position after graduation. Junior designer, $52,000 a year. I took it. 6 months after graduation, I was promoted to mid-level designer, $68,000. A year after that, senior designer, $85,000. I bought a condo, a small 1-bedroom in a converted factory building, exposed brick, big windows. It was mine. I didn't talk to my family. They didn't reach out. I saw on Facebook through a mutual friend's post that Marcus's startup had failed. He'd burned through all $350,000 in 18 months, leased office space, hired 3 employees, built an app nobody wanted. He moved back in with my parents. I felt nothing. At 26, I made partner. Owens & Hilton Design Studio. My name on the door. Literally. Brushed steel letters in the lobby of a a Class A office building in downtown Hartford. I'd met James Hilton at a conference. He was 52, industry veteran, looking to scale. He needed someone hungry, creative, willing to work 70-hour weeks. I was all three. We built something fast. 12 employees the first year, 25 the second, 40 by year 3. Revenue hit $8 million, then $12 million, then $18 million. The Hartford Business Journal put me on their 30 under 30 list. The profile was 2 pages. Photos of the office, my corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows, a quote about resilience and building from nothing. They listed our client roster, our revenue, my age. The article went live on a Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, my father had called the office. My assistant, Janet Morris, 28, organized to the point of comedy, put him through to voicemail. He didn't leave a message. He showed up instead. 3 people in the lobby, Janet said through my office intercom. They say they're your parents. I looked up from my laptop. My parents? And someone named Marcus. They don't have an appointment. I sat very still. 5 years. Not a single word. Ms. Hilton, Janet prompted. Should I have security? No. My voice sounded strange, distant. Give me 5 minutes, then show them to conference room B. I opened my bottom desk drawer, pulled out a manila folder. The folder I'd kept for 3 years. Inside, a printed email from GeraldJHilton@gmail.com to Hartford National Bank, Trust Department, date June 3rd, 2019. Subject, custodial fund transfer. Account, bar 478392001. Please proceed with the transfer of all funds from the Educational Trust of Victoria Hilton, account number 478392001, to the Educational Trust of Marcus Hilton, account number 478392006. As trustee of both accounts, I authorize this consolidation to support Marcus's graduate education expenses. Best regards, Gerald Hilton. I'd gotten it from Daniel Orozco 2 years ago. He'd filed a FOA request as part of a research project, found it in the bank's records. Too late to sue, statute of limitations, but not too late to keep. I walked to conference room B. The door was glass. I could see them before I walked in. My father looked smaller. His suit was at least 10 years old. Buttons pulling across his stomach, hair grayer, thinner. Marcus wore wrinkled khakis and a polo shirt with a stain near the collar. The charm was gone from his face, just exhaustion, desperation. My mother clutched her purse like a life preserver. When she saw me through the glass, her face went white. She actually grabbed the table edge. Knees buckled. She'd never seen this version of me. The corner office version. The partner version. The woman her husband said would never amount to anything. I opened the door. Good morning, I said, kept my voice professional. Can I get anyone water? Coffee? My father tried to stand at the head of the table, caught himself, sat in a side chair instead. You've done very well, Victoria, he said. Very impressive. I always knew you were resourceful, like a cockroach, like something that survives despite the odds. Thank you, I said. Sat across from them, folded my hands on the table. How can I help you today? Silence. Marcus cleared his throat. We wanted to reconnect. It's been too long. 5 years, I said, give or take. We're family, my father said. Family should stick together. I agree. I watched him relax slightly, lean back in his chair. I'm glad you feel that way, he continued, because we could use some advice. Marcus has some business ventures he's exploring. Thought you might offer some guidance, professional expertise. Marcus leaned forward, put his elbows on my $12,000 custom conference table. I've got some really promising ideas, Tori. Just need some capital to get started. Thought maybe you could. Are you a client, Marcus? What? Are you engaging our firm as a client? Our consulting rate is $350 an hour. Janet can schedule you for next month. We're pretty booked. Dead silence. Stop the corporate act, my father snapped, his face flushed. We drove 2 hours to see you. That's more effort than you've made in 5 years. Don't get smart with me. I'm your father. Legally, yes. I made a decision. His voice rose. I did what I thought was right for this family. And look at you. You're fine. You got over it. You didn't need that money. You took $175,000 with my name on it without my knowledge or consent. He went pale. How did you? I have the email you sent to the bank. I slid the paper across the table. June 3rd, 2019. Please proceed with the transfer. Your words. He stared at it. Marcus stared at it. My mother closed her eyes. That was years ago, my father said quietly. Ancient history. Not to me. Tori, please. Marcus's voice cracked. I'm in a hole. $60,000 in debt. Credit cards, personal loans. I just need a bridge. Just enough to. No, we're blood. Blood didn't stop you from spending my future on bottle service and a BMW. That's not fair. You dropped out after 1 semester. The MBA program you needed my $175,000 for, you quit. Spent the rest on a fake startup and a lifestyle you couldn't afford. His face crumpled. I made mistakes. So did I. I trusted you, loved you, thought you'd do the right thing. I looked at my mother. She was crying, silently, tears running down her face. You stood there, I said. You watched him do it, watched me leave, said nothing. I was scared, she whispered. You were the adult. I didn't know how to stop him. You could have tried. More silence, heavier this time. I stood up. I don't hate you, I said. Looked at all 3 of them. Hating you would mean you still have power over me, that you still matter enough to occupy space in my head. You don't. I walked toward the door. Your grandmother would be proud of you, my mother said, voice breaking. I stopped, hand on the doorframe, looked back at the 3 of them, small, desperate, broke, sitting in my conference room, in my building, begging for scraps from the girl they said had no potential, from the girl they said should learn a trade. I know, I said. Epilogue. Janet found me in my office 20 minutes later. I was staring at the email, the one from my father, the proof. They left, she said. Are you okay? Yeah. I folded the paper, put it back in the folder, back in the drawer. I'm fine. For what it's worth, Janet said, I think you're the most resilient person I've ever met. Resilient, resourceful, survivor. Words people use when they don't want to acknowledge that you got hurt in the first place. That night, I drove to the cemetery, first time in 5 years. My grandmother's headstone was simple, just her name, her dates. Helen May Hilton, 1945-2019. Beloved mother and grandmother. I sat in the grass, ignored the dew soaking through my slacks. You were right, I said to the stone. I did something beautiful, and I didn't let anyone tell me otherwise. The wind picked up, rustled the trees. I stayed until dark. When I got home, there was an email waiting from Margaret Chen, the lawyer who'd built me my first website, who'd listened to my story. Subject, saw the article. Proud of you. Victoria, saw your name in the business journal. I'm not surprised. I knew you were special the moment you delivered that website 5 years ago. Whatever you've built, you earned it. If you ever want to grab coffee and talk about old times or new ventures, let me know. Best, Margaret. I smiled, closed my laptop, turned off the lights. Tomorrow, I'd wake up in my condo, drive to my office, work on projects that excited me, make decisions that mattered. But tonight, I let myself feel it. All of it. The hurt, the anger, the satisfaction, the knowledge that I'd taken their worst and built my best. That I'd survived not because of them, but in spite of them. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.